So in this problem, this is one of the more difficult ones in this section for Unit 14, but we should be fairly familiar with the formulas, but let's just familiarize ourselves with the two formulas that we're going to need. So they tell us that a diagonal of this rectangle is 16 kilometers. And it also tells us, so we remember this is the length and the width, okay? And it also tells us that the perimeter is 44.8 kilometers. That means if I added up all of these sides, that would equal 44.8. So our formula for perimeter is P is equal to 2L plus 2W. And then you might be asking, well, why did they give us a diagonal here? Well, we're going to be working with the systems of equations. So the diagonal, it's Pythagorean theorem, okay? When you look at a triangle, if it's a right triangle, and this is a right triangle, then if we add a squared and b squared, we will get this side, c squared. Now we don't have a and b and c here, so this would be the diagonal squared is equal to the length squared plus the width squared. All right, so let's plug in the values that we do know. So we can see that these are going to be our systems. They're nonlinear, right? So this one, the perimeter, so 2L plus 2W is equal to the perimeter. And we know that in this problem, our perimeter is 44.8 kilometers. We also know that if we find L squared plus W squared, we will get 16 squared, which let's just go ahead and figure out what 16 squared is. So this is going to be 256. All right. Now we can't do elimination here because we can see that these don't have any like values or anything like that. So we're not going to eliminate. We're going to need to do substitution. And we tend to like to find substitution for the linear terms or the first degree things. So we're going to take 2L plus 2W equals 44.8. We're going to solve this for L. So let's subtract 2W from both sides. And we get 2L is equal to 44.8 minus 2W. Divide everything by 2. We're going to get L is equal to, that would be 22.4 minus W. And then we're going to do substitution here. We're going to plug that value in to our Pythagorean theorem problem and replace the L. Now, this is common, but where you see that L, let's put the 22.4 minus W plus W squared equals 256. Be careful here. It's tempting to distribute the squared, but this is a two-term binomial. So when we think about something like this squared, we should default to thinking about writing it twice. And so this would be 22.4 minus W, 22.4 minus W. Let's FOIL this out. 22.4 times 22.4 gives us 501.76. Minus 22.4W minus 22.4W, and then negative W times negative W gives us a positive W squared. Don't forget we still have this, I almost made this mistake, we still have this W squared hanging out at the end, equals 256. All right, it's looking pretty not very nice right now, but let's go ahead and combine our like terms. 2W squared minus 44.8W plus 501.76 equals 256. Let's move that 256 over. And what we're going to get here is we're going to get 2W squared minus 44.8 W. 501.76 minus 256 gives us positive 245.76 equals 0. Now you might think to yourself, where do I go from here? Well, we need to find those values of W. I think the only way to do this is I'm not factoring something that has decimals, so we're going to need to use quadratic formula here. So A is 2, B is negative 44.8, and C is 245.76. So I'm going to scroll down, give myself a little bit more room. Remember, quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So negative 44.8 plus or minus square root of negative 44.8 squared minus 4 times 2 times 245.76, and this is all over 2 times a is 2. All right, we're going to get some pretty big numbers here, but we can handle this. So this is going to be 44.8 plus or minus square root of negative 44.8 squared. It's going to give us 2007.4. And then let's work this out. 4 times 2 times 245.76 is, so this is minus 1,966.08 over 4, which gives us 2007.04 minus 1966.08, 40.96. So 44.8 plus or minus square root of 40.96 over 4. We're getting there. All right, let's square root 40.96. Square root of 40.96 is 6.4. So 44.8 plus or minus 6.4 over 4. You might get to this point and think to yourself, what do I do from here? This is where we're going to look at this in this is where we're going to bring this plus minus into the equation. So 44.8 plus 6.4 over 4, and 44.8 minus 6.4 over 4. 44.8 plus 6.4 gives me 51.2 divided by 4. I get 12.8. And if we do 44.8 minus 6.4 divided by 4, we get 9.6. Now you might ask, how do we get two widths? Well, if you go take a look at when we have to actually solve for length up here, you can see that if we plug in 12.8, 22.4 minus 12.8 equals 9.6. And 22.4 minus 9.6 will give us 12.8. So it's really just saying like the length and the width, they're interchangeable, right? So it doesn't matter which one you enter. We can say the length is 9.6 and the width is 12.8, or we could say that the length is 12.8 and the width is 9.6. Both of these work. They're interchangeable. It's like, which one do you label the width or the length? So long problem, but got us there.